universe. There isn't anything longer than that. So any kind of abstraction for them is difficult. Where there is no floor, there is no civilization. The Xinguanos can tell us very little about the history of their society. They can tell us very little about their leaders and the great events that they have survived through. On the other hand, we have learned that if you show us any floor anywhere, we'll tell you all about that particular civilization. So what we can do right now is we can climb aboard a jumbo 747. Let's all of us go right now today. Let's fly to ancient Egypt or to ancient Rome or to Greece or to China, because we can fly to those places, and today we can show you floors that are thousands of years old. Now, on those floors that are thousands of years old, we can crawl and creep on them today if we want. But not only that, we can show you artwork made thousands of years ago showing babies crawling and creeping on those floors. Then we can show you a written language written thousands of years ago talking about babies crawling and creeping on those same floors. So in those cultures where they had floors, where babies had the opportunity to crawl and creep, where their midbrains could develop, where they could have the convergence of vision, now we're talking about cultures that we can tell you a lot about. We can tell you about their great leaders, the great events that they've had to overcome, in some cases over a period of 1,000 years or more. So what we have learned is you show us a floor and we'll tell you all about that particular civilization.
I suppose the first time we left the Institute here to go to the Arctic to study Eskimo babies and how they were born must have been in middle 60s. I remember I was feeling very macho, 55 degrees below zero and all that, living with Eskimos. And then I remembered my Aunt Gussie. My Aunt Gussie was a nurse, and in 1921 she went with an American hospital unit to Point Barrow, Alaska. I think that was as close as any non-Eskimo woman had been to the North Pole up to that time. And her experiences were very, very interesting. When she went there, Eskimo mothers having babies did a very interesting thing. First of all, they had their babies in a kneeling position, which almost all the mothers in the world do. And as soon as they had the baby, they would lie down, even in igloos, which can be quite warm. They would lie naked on the floor, and the naked baby would be placed on mother's hip at birth. The baby would then crawl up mother's body to the breast and take the breast. Then we arrived and decided to stop these heathen practices and explained that they couldn't do it anymore, that they had to go to the hospital like civilized people and lie on their backs with their legs cocked up to have their babies. Very reluctantly, the Eskimos went along with this. But they had one exception. They insisted that after they laid on the back to have their babies, that the naked baby be placed on the naked mother's hip in the hospital, at which time the baby crawled up mother's body and took the breast. The baby was crawling at birth. Now in our society, in America, and most of the Western societies, that happens at 2.5 months of age. Now that's interesting. We can either decide that in mobility, Eskimos are genetically superior to us, or we can decide that we inadvertently do many things to suppress mobility in our children. And that's the case.
There are two key words that we want to talk about at some length in this philosophy. The first one is opportunity. Every moment that our babies spend on the floor in the prone position, they're having the best opportunity to develop their brain function and their mobility. The second one is the prone position. First, opportunity. In our day and age, babies do have the opportunity to crawl and creep and walk and run and progress up that mobility column of the profile. The problem in our civilization is that it happens by accident. It happens by accident. And simply by giving our babies 2 times, 4 times, 10 times, maybe 100 times the opportunity